Welcome to Domain 4. It's our final domain in our CAPM exam journey, and it's all about business analysis. But take a look at the breakdown for business analysis. This is a whopping 27% of the CAPM exam. Wow. Now you can see why I told you that the exam will have changes that a lot of folks did not bargain for. What exactly can we expect from here? Well, you can expect some heavy scrutiny on business analysis. So before we get into what exactly the PMI is going to be looking for by way of tasks, let's first of all clarify a few things about business analysis. So let's make a case, a business case for business analysis. 47% of unsuccessful projects fail to meet original goals due to poor requirements management. This is according to the PMI's Pulse of the Profession report. 47%, think about that, due to poor requirements. Those organizations that demonstrate maturity in business analysis practices are 55% more successful in implementing strategy and are much more likely to achieve the expected value from the investment made on programs and projects. That is the business case for business analysis. These are just a few statistics from the PMI that underscore the importance of being a business analyst. So what exactly is business analysis? It is the application of knowledge and skills and tools and techniques that revolve around this art and science of business analysis. It's all about applying knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques in order to determine problems and opportunities, to be able to identify business needs and recommend viable solutions, to be able to elicit, analyze, and manage requirements, to be able to determine benefits. What are the benefits from a project? What are the approaches for measuring value? And also, business analysts are involved in realizing value and analyzing results. So let's go a little bit more in depth into who is the business analyst, the BA. Business analysis, first and foremost, can be performed by any individual. Now, I've never held the title business analyst, but I've performed the role of a business analyst on several occasions throughout my career as a project manager. So we can say the business analyst is the individual who is involved in not only the management of requirements, but also the elicitation of requirements. You know, the term business analyst is used in a rather broad sense, and all roles that are responsible for performing business analysis, regardless the industry, we can refer to those individuals as being the analyst in those specific situations. Many portfolios, programs, and projects require a team of individuals to perform business analysis. And in those scenarios, we could say each one of those individuals is performing the role of a business analyst. Let's talk about the business analyst and requirements. So remember, I told you what business analysis is the application of knowledge and skills and tools and techniques to perform a number of functions such as determine problems and opportunities, identify business needs, elicit, analyze, and manage requirements. And that's a big one I want to stress right now. So let's dial into this requirements mindset. Now, when we're talking about the business analyst and projects or products, we often use the term product requirement. And you hear this all throughout the world of the PMI. Now, when we talk about a requirement, you got to remember that the PMI defines a requirement as a capability. A product requirement is something that can be met by a solution and addresses a need of a business. It defines the need of a person. It could be a group of people. And a product requirement should be independent of the design of the solution that addresses it. So product requirements are specified to clarity, and they communicate a business need of required capability, whether we express them as requirement statements, or we use, in the world of Agile, user stories, backlog items, visual models, whatever the case. we kind of use that term generally. So when you hear the word requirement, we could be talking about any of those components. It doesn't always have to be a straight, the system shall, the system must kind of requirement. It could be, like I said, a user story or a use case or something of that nature. So what kind of requirements does a business analyst deal with? Business requirements, that's one. And a business requirement is a capability that is needed by the business. Higher level needs of the organization is definitely one. The next type of requirement you think about is solution requirements. And these are the features, functions, and characteristics that a product will meet. We could also use the term transition requirements. And these are temporary capabilities like data conversion, training requirements. The future state is complete. The transition requirements are no longer needed. And that is one trick question that you often hear cropping up in PMI circles. Which of those requirements is not needed once you've delivered? It's the transition requirements. And then we have project requirements. This describes actions, processes, or other conditions that the project needs to meet. And then we can have quality requirements, which describes any condition or criterion that's needed to validate the successful completion of a project deliverable. So now you get the idea. There's a lot of content. And that's why I wanted to give you this primer so that you have a solid idea of what we're getting into. We're getting into some pretty deep stuff. I have about 85 different slides on nothing but business analysis to help you get this area down pat. And that's why I keep saying you need to be in that training for the CAPM Live. Go to Praizion.com, look for it, and sign up. Now let's talk about the business analyst and the concept of product quality. Business analysts focus on ensuring that product quality is sufficient as we are working on the project or the endeavor. Project management focuses on ensuring that processes performed to deliver the solution are of sufficient quality, but business analysts focus on ensuring the product is of sufficient quality. So that is a complementary skill that actually does help project managers. When the solution adheres to non-functional requirements and the process to deliver the solution adhere to quality requirements, it maximizes probability that the solution will meet business needs. And that's why the concept of business analysis is huge. Now, before we go back into talking about the exam, I want to show you what exactly the business analyst needs to be aware of from the PMI's world. We're going to look at the silos of work that a business analyst does. So you remember that infamous page, those of you who have read the 6th edition, page 25, you know how we have knowledge areas and we have these big old domains at the top. Well, I'm going to show you how you as a business analyst needs to think about these domains, these areas. It's a bit of a different world and it takes some getting used to, but it's definitely going to help you for your CAPM exam. So let's get into that real quick. So I call this the BA page 25. It's a little bit different. So on the left, you can see we have these knowledge areas of a needs assessment, stakeholder engagement, elicitation, analysis, and traceability and monitoring. On the domain level, which is right here at the top, and I'm going to put a frame around it just so that you know what I'm looking at over here. We have these groups, process groups, if you will, or domains. You could say we have defining and aligning. We have the initiating process group. We have planning. We have executing as usual. We have monitoring and controlling process group. And then we have releasing process group. And you can see this is different. It's a different spin than what we have in the PMBOK guide when it comes to closing. So what exactly does all this entail in needs assessment? So in needs assessment, we're going to identify the problem or opportunity. We're going to assess the current state, determine the future state. We're going to determine viable options and provide recommendations. We're going to facilitate the product roadmap development. So in this course, we're going deep into how a product roadmap should be developed. This is a brilliant one for any of you who is an Agilist but hasn't really done this before. And we're going to talk about assembling the business case. And my buddy Roy is going to be joining me virtually for this journey. So this could be very instrumental to helping those of you who are PMPs, but don't have a solid idea about product analysis and the product roadmap. All right. Next in needs assessment, we're going to talk about supporting the project charter development. And that takes us to the next knowledge area. This is stakeholder engagement. Some of the things here might be familiar to you, and I'm going to zoom into these just to help you see this clearer. So we have the identify stakeholders process. Then we have conducting a stakeholder analysis, determining stakeholder engagement and communication approaches based on our stakeholders, of course. Then we have conducting business analysis planning. And lastly here, we have 3 more: prepare for transition to future state, manage stakeholder engagement and communication, and assess business analysis performance. The next knowledge area here is elicitation. Really quick, we determine the elicitation approach. We prepare for elicitation, we conduct the elicitation, and we confirm elicitation results. So it's not just about grabbing a bunch of stuff and saying we're done. We actually want to make sure that those elicitation results, they map back to what we actually need them to be. So you conduct a thorough elicitation, you make sure you got the results that you need. All right, then we have the analysis knowledge area. And in the analysis knowledge area, we have determine the analysis approach. We have create and analyze models, define and elaborate requirements, define acceptance criteria, verify requirements, validate requirements, prioritize requirements, and other product information. You know, we talk about an RTM, requirements traceability matrix, in the PMBOK Guide 6. Well, this is where you actually see the relevance of some of these documents and tools we've talked about. We identify and analyze product risks, and we assess product design options. And then the final knowledge area here, my friends, is traceability and monitoring. And this is where, like I said, you got requirements traceability matrix being used to the max in this area. And here we have evaluate the solution. And that's actually hidden. That's going to the second one, I beg your pardon. This is 8. I'm going to have to scoot it up a little bit for you to see. But the first one in 8.1 is determine traceability and monitoring approach, establish relationships and dependencies, and select and approve requirements. So this is where your requirements traceability matrix could come in handy. And we have one more. I'm going to scoot up the table so that you can see the final entry here. So this is a 9th chapter in the PMI's business analysis practice guide. And here we can see we've got 4 processes: evaluate solution performance, determine solution evaluation approach, evaluate acceptance results and address defects, and then obtain solution acceptance for release. So here you see it, my friends. This is a lot of content. And this is why when people ask me, you know, Phil, should I take the exam today or should I take it next year? And I'm like, you can take it next year, but you sure got a lot of work to do, you know, so just be ready, because you will have to do quite a bit of studying for this area, which to many of you is brand new in this fashion. Okay. And with that said, let's go back to where we were in the very beginning. We are yet to talk about the area. My goodness, why does this feel like a big old course? Because the PMI has the PMI-PBA certification, which is for business analysis alone. And it's like taking a chunk of that and throwing it into the CAPM. And you can see that's 27% of the CAPM exam. So let's take a look at domain 4, business analysis frameworks. Now you've got a good idea of what business analysis is. Task 1, demonstrate an understanding of business analysis roles and responsibilities. So we'll take a look at all the roles, distinguish between stakeholder roles, outline the need for roles and responsibilities, and differentiate between internal and external roles. Task 2 is all about determining how to conduct stakeholder communication. You saw that there's a chapter dedicated to that in the book, in the business analysis big old framework. So we'll talk about that. Task 3 is determine how to gather requirements. So we've got workshops, surveys, lessons learned, traceability matrices, product backlog, all of these topics. There's a lot of topics to talk about, my friends. Task 4, demonstrate an understanding of product roadmaps. Like I said, there's a section specifically for the roadmaps, and we are going in on roadmaps. By the time we're done, you'll feel quite confident in putting one together yourself. Task 5, determine how project methodologies influence business analysis processes. Determine the role of a business analyst in adaptive or predictive or plan-based approaches. We kind of touched on this a little bit. I gave you a definition just now to get you started. And task 6, validate requirements through product delivery. Define acceptance criteria, the action of defining changes based on the situation, and determine if a project or product is ready for delivery based on a requirements traceability matrix and a product backlog. Wow, my friends, do we or do we not have our work cut out for us? I tell you, we sure got a lot of work to do. So if you are thinking of taking the CAPM exam in 2023, you can see why you need to be on my program so that I can give you all the help and all the support. And the time to sign up is now because we got crazy deals for this season, okay? So if you want to be part of this class, go on down to projectmanagementdoctor.com/CAPM live. If you want to be part of the live solution, if you want to wait out to when we've got this on, the Udemy site, well, that's fine. But for now, I would advise that you go on down to the Praizion site, to projectmanagementdoctor.com, take a look at CAPM live, see what we've got going on there. There's a breakdown and you can sign up right now to get this deal. It's going at a steal right now. It will not be like this forever. So do take advantage of the current pricing. All right, and that's it, my friends. We've covered all of the 4. You now understand the relevance of the CAPM exam content outline. You know how everything is broken down, okay? And this is domain 4, and those are the tasks associated. And if you need more information about the exam, all you need to do is download this document. In closing, there's one more document that you should be looking at. New content outline, that's a current one. That's some sample questions. That's a fun one to look at. All right, so here's a document I wanted to find for you. I could not find it on the PMI site. The document sometimes goes missing. It's called the Certified Associate Project Management Pilot Reference, which is probably the reason why it's missing, because the pilot was in 2022, but in 2023, maybe getting ready for it, they've taken this down, so you may not be able to find it. But here we can find the outline, what exactly is the exam about, and then the reference. You can find the book chapter that maps back to each part of the outline. And guess what? When it comes to the business analysis section, we have the business analysis for practitioners, a practice guide. And that is where I'm pulling a chunk of this content from, since PMI has made it clear that that is a reference book. All right. So again, my friends, if you want to be on this journey with me, you need to go on down to the Praizion site. You need to hit the CAPM, right? Projectmanagementdoctor.CAPM live, and it's spinning, but you need to sign up